We got Timcast News citing the stream from Hassan, and he's talking with Bernie Sanders. I will just let them describe it, but basically, you're a moron if you don't believe the wildfires were the result of climate change.
The likes of DEI or whatever the new Republican thing is on any given basis is simply a misdirection away from the actual the actual reasons as to why anthropogenic climate change is accelerating these extreme weather events.
It makes me furious. It really does. Now, presumably what's going on in LA is all because you have a Democratic governor, a Democratic mayor, but then they're going to have to explain why we've had all this terrible flooding and other disasters in very red states all across this country. You got to be a moron not to understand that climate change does not give a damn whether you're a Democrat or a Republican. It is real.
They had record rainfall earlier this year.
Simply an attempt to deflate attention, much needed attention.
Can I just pause to point out there's a giant red fist in Bernie's office?
Yeah, he's a communist.
Yeah.
It's a straight up communist symbol.
Yeah. Right. That for people to understand, the red salute, the red fist, is akin to the Roman salute, which was used by the Nazis. For whatever reason, schools just don't demonize the communists the same way. This society, I mean, I know why we demonize Nazis. Yeah. I think we should also rightly demonize communists, but sure, whatever.
Why climate change is causing devastating problems in LA, throughout our country. My small state of Vermont, in the last number of years, has been hit time and again. Floods which have wreaked havoc for hundreds and hundreds of homeowners, small business people, our state capital.
I'm sorry, I got to stop him. Yeah, you know what these? You know what this is? These are guys standing on the side of the road holding a sign saying the end is nigh. Give me $10.
It's idiots.
Yeah, I think the thing about climate change, right? So the theory is that the climate's changing, right? When in history is the climate never, isn't that just normal? Like the climate does change. The question really is it stuff that we're doing, right? And I don't know that the science is, I think that there is some science that suggests, maybe we're playing a role, but like whether we play a role or not, the climate's always going to change. There'll be floods, there'll be winds, there'll be, all sorts of shifts.
You're exactly right. And I want to make a point that I continue to make regularly on the show. If there is man-made climate change, it is because of China and India, both of which have 1.5 billion people.
I think the point you make too, in addition to that, sorry to interrupt you, but is that, even if we did everything right, we recycled everything, we did everything in the U.S., it's irrelevant because if, large areas like China and India are burning coal or whatever the case may be, they're not. If they don't stop, then it's really useless. Yes. It doesn't do anything,
100%. And these both of those countries have a massive population of very, very poor people, right? Like even though
they don't have time or luxury to worry about that stuff.
Exactly. When you have people that are that poor, that are literally burning like animal waste, burning dung to heat their homes and stuff, you can't look at the American people who have made massive progress in clean energy and changing their lifestyles, and people change their light bulbs so they're not using incandescent anymore and they're using LEDs and all these small things that millions and millions and millions and millions of Americans have done on their own without the government saying you have to, on their own, to make changes because they do believe that it's important to at least contribute and help. You can't look at them and say, you people are idiots. You people are morons. It's absolutely counterproductive.
I can very easily logically debunk our good friend Bernie Sanders and Hassan over here. You see, the point they're trying to make is that it's not DEI or Democrat mayors or governors. Climate change is real. Now let's try some logic. Which political party has been telling us we must engage in mitigation practices to deal with climate change?
Republicans.
Yeah, no, it wasn't Republicans. You lose minus 500 points. In fact, it is Democrats.
Yes.
Which state has a Democrat supermajority? Many,
California.
but California.
Yeah,
so the question then becomes, if Democrats know climate change is a problem, and Democrats have advocated for climate change mitigation, and then you have a Democrat governor and mayor, and they don't mitigate the problem they tell us is coming, is it the fault of those politicians? Yes. Thank you, Bernie. Have a nice day.
It's true.
And I think ultimately the idea of climate change, if it's dependent upon you and me making sure that we recycle, we're screwed. Like, no, really, like you cannot depend on how many billion people are on this earth to all do the right thing. And if it's dependent, it's like when you used to go on an airplane and they'd be like, oh, you got to turn your cell phone off or what? Like you really think that my cell phone, if this is going to bring down the plane, we got bigger problems than that, right? So I think like at a micro level, it's theater. You know, it's this idea that we're doing the little things to, you know, make a difference, but in reality, it makes very little. Like if you recycle plastic, like 99% of it doesn't get recycled anyway.
I think when you spend enough time at a poker table and you get angled so often, you just don't trust people anymore.
You learn to not trust, I guess.
When that guy accidentally throws in 100, goes, oh no, I meant to do 20. Oh geez, look at me. You're like, these people are not gentlemen. You cannot trust them.
Yeah.
And you got to be a moron like Bernie Sanders and Hassan Piker to conflate DEI with the response and the preparedness and the response to what is going to happen in the state.
Yeah, DEI
has nothing to do.
Good.
I'm done.
Well, DEI is a great excuse, and it's a buzzword nowadays, but it really is just incompetence. You know, the people that are put in positions that were supposed to, you know, they were
I will say
supposed to
this,
do
I don't
things.
think it matters who you had there because they didn't have the resources. Like, I don't think that anyone in that fire department was like not going to do their absolute best, whatever that is. And it wasn't the personnel or the people themselves. It's the question of like, you know, why aren't they? And it's simple because there are other parts of the world that have similar climates to California, but they don't have these problems.
Well, I mean,
and part of the problems you sort of touched on it earlier was just like really taking care of the forest.
Yeah, the eucalyptus. I guess apparently there's a boatload of eucalyptus growing everywhere, and it takes a long time for that. I've heard that meme. I don't know if it's actually true, but the story goes that there's a boatload of eucalyptus, and it takes a long time to mature, and 100 years to mature, and the oils that it secretes is super flammable, and so you've got California full of eucalyptus with this oil that secretes, and they don't clean up the forest floor. So like literally everything that could go wrong.
Trump got laughed at for saying that a while back.
Of course.
In a lot of things he says he gets from experts and they make sense to him. So then he just sort of regurgitates it in his own way, right? And maybe simplifies it in the sense of saying like, shouldn't they just clean up the forest? And people laughed like, haha, yeah, I'm sure it's as simple as brewing up, but like, he's right.
Yeah.
Like
You rake
this is
the
really one way to mitigate like the damage done is by not having like the area be a powder cake.
We've done it here. We've done it at properties in this.
We have to rake.
Yes.
You have to rake.
Yeah, by law. Like
things out
those
there,
are
clear
laws
it
that
out.
you have to be compliant. Right.
I got to pull up this story for you, Daniel. Delays and a lack of resources. They say this was reported yesterday. New York Post. LA firefighters took 45 minutes to respond to the Palisades blaze, and by that point, it was too late.
Yeah.
Why so long?
I don't know. 45 minutes is a very long time.
Yeah, that's rough to hear.
I'm sorry, like guys, 45 minutes is a long time. If a report came in that a wildfire started, dispatch the chopper, I guess.
Everything.
Well, to be fair, on the chopper point, it was too windy to do so, but taking 40 minutes to respond, I'm like,
And you're in Cali, and
I'm not ragging on the firefighters. I'm ragging on whatever their resources were, or the management, or whatever the issue was. They were unable.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, nothing to do with the firefighters. God bless them. They're doing their job the best they can. It's their management and their leaders who are.
Well, the firefighters, many of them said, it's like, we had no chance.
Yeah.
We were like, Mother Nature just owned us. There was nothing we could do. And I believe that I believe that's part and parcel because they weren't prepared. So why weren't they prepared? Is the key question.
Yes.
I have a friend that used to do, I forget what the name of the job is, but he's a firefighter that would jump out of airplanes to go and fight like wildfires, like way off in the woods and stuff. And he was saying, look, man, if those winds are going to kick up like this, 100 miles an hour, even God isn't putting that fire out. He's like, there's not, because I said to him, I was like, yo, bro, you need to get down to LA. And he's like, man, even if I went down there, there's nothing that can be done. He's like, the wind is just too much. Even, you're not putting these fires out.
People,
Smoke jumper, by the way.
Smoke jumper, that's what it is.
Yeah.
I always forget
Also,
that.
like, what about homes? Like, I mean, these homes that all burn down, like, if you use concrete, they don't burn down, right?
I
If
don't
you live in an area like that, you maybe have to say, like, okay, if you want to live in this area, you must build this type of home.
There was a video of metal on fire in the wildfires, and it was a metal frame burning, and I was just like, I think maybe when it gets too hot, a lot more burns than you realize. But honestly, I don't know that I know enough to answer definitively whether or not, because what I will say is I've seen seemingly metal skyscrapers on fire, and Obviously, if you build the house out of wood, it's going to burn, if it ends up happening. But I do think that a lot of materials we use, be it insulation or otherwise, things we have to use, carpeting and other things, are going to catch on fire.
Have you seen what they do in Japan? Okay, this is crazy. But in Japan, on their roofs, built into the houses, they have this thing where if a fire happens, the roof opens up and sprinklers just fire off.
What?
And they protect all the homes, stuff like that.
Japan's the
Japan
coolest
does
place
it-
on earth, man.
Japan just does it well.
Japan is so great.
I
been
have
to
babies,
Japan-
but they're doing all right.
I've been to Japan a bunch of times. I love it,
We
man.
live in an
So
age of
cool.
like technology where we have cars that drive itself.
Yeah.
We have all these types of things like how are we so far behind on issues that, are
Oh,
towards
bro,
safety?
no. I
seen the
pulled the
video?
video up.
I told you.
Look at this
It's
video.
unbelievable.
Check this out, guys.
Yeah.
Is that what you saw?
Yeah, this is what I saw. Look at this.
Oh shoot!
Oh, it's they're like little sheds
They have their
outside.
own-
Yeah.
Okay.
You could
So-
do this to your pool or whatever.
It's little fire suppression sheds. Like, is it right?
That's so cool.
I mean, we
That's
haven't-
preparation.
Yeah.
Right there.
You know what I was thinking about?
Japan was like, I remember World War II. That's not happening again.
I saw a picture of a pool.
Yeah.
Everything's burned around it, and I'm like, what if you, of your own volition, built a PVC pipe that went up and ran, not attached, don't need a permit, ran along the roof of your building with sprinklers, and then you can run the pipe right into your pool and
They
turn the
have
pump
something like this. Yeah, there are people. I mean, if you look this one up, I'm pretty sure people were talking about getting one of those pumps that connect to your pool because you literally have whatever it is, 50, 60 gallons of water you could use immediately. It's right
like
there.
5,000 or something.
Whatever it is. I don't know. I'm really bad with numbers when it comes to that.
I will say
Well,
that
you guys use metric up there.
Yeah, it's true. So what's a gallon?
in California, I'm not so sure what they would do if that would even be legal, because if you catch rainwater and you put it into a tank, they'll throw you in jail over that.
Yes, but my point is,
Yes.
That can't be real.
No, 100%.
yeah, catching rainwater is illegal in a lot of urban places.
Yeah.
Illegal. Why?
Well,
Because you're taking away from the water that goes back into the water table.
yeah, there are other more technical reasons, because I remember we had this issue with in Jersey. I was talking to someone about it, and they said it's not just that you're taking the water away. It's something else. It's something like the combined retention of water by a certain amount of people can actually create a catastrophic like release of water or something like that. So it's basically, they're like, no one cares about one person doing it. They care if literally everybody retained, 3,000 gallons of water all at once or something. But I'm saying build a PVC system that's just literally pipes you don't attach, you never do anything with. You've never taken any action. If a wildfire starts, you just attach the pipes and turn the sprinklers on above your house to try and prevent the fire.
This is the type of stuff that if like I'm the government and I know the highest risk of safety, and like you said, it happened 6 years ago, then this is what I'm going to spend all my resources on, is to make sure all these homes have that or have some sort of access to water in a case of emergency like this, because this is going to happen again, right? So what are we going to do for the next one? We should have been thinking about that after the last one.
This is actually a crazy thing when you think about it. I mean, all of these houses had plumbing. All of these houses had access to water. And I'm just like, what if you decentralized firefighting and every house had just like 3 sprinklers on their roofs that the fire, like when the fire breaks, every house just sprays itself with a little bit of water. That stops the flow in key areas and the fire doesn't burn other areas. The amount of water you'd need is minimal.
Yeah, there's people a lot smarter than all of us in this room that can probably figure out technology that would make a huge difference. Like I said, I mean, we have self-driving cars now. Like, how do we not have a better way to protect us from the most basic element, which is fire?
And self-driving cars are common now.
Yeah.
Like Tesla's like one of the highest number. Like they sell more
I don't think a
cars. than-
Cybertruck would burn.
No.
Thanks for checking out this clip from Timcast IRL. Make sure to watch the show live Monday through Friday at 8 p.m. Subscribe to this channel, and we will see you all there.